If you've been scrolling through endless lists of home draft systems, watching video after video of people bragging about the perfect Kegerator, and still feel stuck wondering whether any of them actually fit into your kitchen without turning it into a mini brewery, you're not alone. The fear of splurging on a unit that looks sleek on paper but ends up gathering dust or worse, leaking beer all over the floor keeps a lot of us on the fence. This review is going to cut through the hype and tell you exactly when the beer Meister Kegerator makes sense and when you're better off buying a simple growler holder. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's set the scene. Imagine you're hosting a weekend game night. Your friends arrive, you fire up the TV, and someone asks for a cold draft beer. With a traditional bottle fridge, you'd be scrambling for ice, opening a six-pack, and hoping the cans are still cold. With the Beer Meister's dual tower setup, you can pull a glass, press a button, and watch the liquid flow straight from a keg. No ice, no fuss. That convenience is the core promise, but convenience only matters if the machine actually delivers on a regular basis, not just when the party's on. The Beer Meister markets itself as an all-in-one kit, meaning you don't need to hunt for separate CO tanks, regulators, or fancy taps. Everything you need to get a standard 5-gallon keg up and running is tucked inside the stainless steel frame. The digital thermostat is adjustable, so you can dial the temperature down to the sweet spot for lagers, around 38 F, or a bit warmer for Alesh. In real-world use, that means you can set it once after you plug it in and forget about it, rather than constantly checking a separate thermometer. The stainless steel door and 304 stainless interior are touted as built to last, which is reassuring because you don't want a cheap-looking door warping after a few months of frequent opening. Who should consider buying this? If you're the kind of host who regularly entertains groups of 4 or more, especially during sports seasons, and you already enjoy the idea of having a keg on tap, the Beer Meister can actually save you money per pint compared to buying bottled beer over time. It's also a good fit for small space apartments because the dimensions, roughly 24.9 by 23.9 by 34.4 inches, let the unit slide under a counter or sit in a dedicated nook without dominating the room. The built-in version, with its stainless door, looks more like a mini fridge than a garage-style keg cooler, which helps it blend into a modern home bar aesthetic. Conversely, if your drinking habits revolve around a single bottle a week, or you prefer a rotating selection of craft bottles rather than a single keg, the investment quickly becomes a sunk cost. The same goes for renters who can't modify the space or who fear their lease won't allow a permanent appliance. Because the unit plugs into a standard outlet and doesn't need a dedicated line, the just plug and drink promise holds up, but you still have to factor in the recurring expense of CO refills and the initial cost of a keg itself. If you're not prepared for that ongoing commitment, you'll likely end up letting the system sit idle. Now, let's talk practical strengths. The dual tower design means you can serve 2 different drinks simultaneously: beer on one side, wine or soda on the other. That flexibility shines during a mixed company gathering where someone prefers a sparkling water. You don't need to buy a separate soda dispenser, you just swap the keg for a compatible soda bag. The adjustable thermostat is another win. Many budget kegerators sit at a fixed temperature, which can either overchill a stout or leave a pale ale lukewarm. Being able to fine-tune the temperature means your beer stays at the optimal serving range, preserving flavor and carbonation. Finally, the stainless steel construction isn't just about looks, it resists corrosion from spills and keeps the interior hygienic, which is vital when you're dealing with a system that constantly circulates liquid. On the flip side, the weaknesses are more subtle but worth mentioning. The first is the learning curve around CO pressure. Even though the kit includes a regulator, getting the pressure right for different keg types can be a bit of trial and error. Too much pressure and you get foamy pours, too little and the beer drips sluggishly. For someone who isn't comfortable adjusting gauges, that could become a source of frustration. The second concern is space for the keg itself. While the overall footprint is modest, the internal keg chamber is sized for a standard 5-gallon keg only. If you ever want to try a larger Cornelius or a 15-gallon commercial keg, you'll be out of luck without major modifications. Third, the digital thermostat, while adjustable, can be a bit temperamental in a very warm kitchen. You may notice the unit working harder and louder to keep the beer cold, which some users have described as a low hum that never fully goes.